Have you ever wondered if the Earth is really a sphere? Or if it's actually flat? Well, you're not alone. There are a growing number of people who believe that the Earth is flat, and they have some pretty convincing arguments. In this episode of our podcast, we're going to take a deep dive into the flat Earth theory and explore all the evidence, both for and against it. So, whether you're a believer or a skeptic,
I am a skeptic.
Strap in and get ready for a wild ride. Things are about to get strange. Just stop touching the microphone. Just say hi.
Hi.
You ready for this?
I'm ready for this. Hello, all you ghouls and goblins. It is Molly, along with my co-host slash husband slash best friend ever, Josh.
Yo.
So today, we are eating. What are you eating? What are you eating?
I was just munching on some Cheerios.
Yeah. Well, we also did just eat some pizza as well.
Yep.
And I'm topping that off with some Jiminy Cricket ice cream.
Beautiful. And it's 8 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?
Oh, God. Mine's in the living room.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a slight amount of time to do this episode. So
if we seemed rushed, you know why.
Let's get into it. The flat Earth theory is a scientifically disproven theory that the shape of the Earth is a disc. Why are we even talking about this?
Because it's a very popular topic. Why? I do not know. It is stupid, but nevertheless, we are here.
And just like armpits, opinions stink, and everybody's got one. So, I do not want to do this.
It's a very popular topic.
Okay. So the Earth theory. It's the flat Earth theory.
The Earth theory.
So the flat Earth theory is a Wow. I don't know if we're going to get through this episode.
We're not going to stop laughing. I think this is one of the few topics that we both agree on that it's just so
outlandish.
Whack. I was going to say whack as hell, but
you can see we have different vocabulary.
We do not believe in this theory at all. Continue.
The flat Earth theory is a scientifically disproven theory that the shape of the Earth is a disk or a plane. And obviously, scientists have disproven this, which we'll get into. Many ancient cultures believed in the flat Earth theory. Let's start off with some history. In early Mesopotamian and Egyptian thought, the world was portrayed as a disk floating in the ocean. The Israelites also imagined the earth to be a disk floating on water, with an arced firmament above it separating the earth from the heavens. The sky was a solid dome with the sun, moon, planets, and stars embedded in it.
Like a snow globe.
Right.
Sorry.
Thanks, Molly.
You're welcome.
In ancient Greece, philosophers, Thales, wow.
Good luck.
Leucippus,
this is why.
And Democritus all believed that I'm sorry, Greeks, and if you knew how to actually pronounce the names. Leucippus and Democritus all believed that the world was flat. The ancient Germanic and Norse peoples believed in a flat Earth, with the Earth surrounded by an ocean, with its axis mundi, a world tree, Yggdrasil, or pillar, or Minsel, in the center. In ancient China, there was a prevailing belief that the Earth was a flat and square, while the heavens were round. This belief was virtually unquestioned until the introduction of European astronomy in the 17th century. Chinese astronomers such as Zheng Heng used the model of an egg to describe the heavens as spherical, saying, "The heavens are like a hen's egg, and as round as a crossbow bullet. The heavens are like a hen's egg and as round as a crossbow bullet. The earth is like the yolk of the egg and lies in the center.
Which is a nice way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
That was a quaint way of, thinking about it. The spherical view continued to be widely held during the early period of the Christian church. However, the Quran mentions that the earth was spread out, which led some Muslims to reject the spherical world theory. By the 10th century, though, some Muslim traditionalists began to accept the world as a sphere.
Now, the modern flat earth movement was started by English writer Samuel Rowbotham in the 19th century. He believed that the earth was a flat disk centered at the North Pole and bounded along its southern edge by a wall of ice. He also believed that the sun and the moon were 3,000 miles above the earth and that the cosmos were about 3,100 miles above earth. He published his beliefs in a book called Earth, Not a Globe, and in a leaflet called The Inconsistency of Modern Astronomy and Its Opposition to the Scriptures. In these works, he argued that the Bible, alongside our senses, supported the idea that the earth was flat and immovable. He also claimed that the spherical earth model was a system based solely on human conjecture. His ideas were not widely accepted, but they did inspire a small group of followers. In 1883, he founded, I'm probably going to say this wrong, Zetetic societies in New England and New York.
Zetetic.
There we go.
There's two T's.
Yeah, okay. After his death, Lady Elizabeth Blount, a mistress of Henry the Eighth, I had to count that.
Roman numerals.
Roman numerals.
Excuse us while we math real quick.
We're not good at math here. And she was also an activist, established a universal, say that word again?
Zetetic.
Society in 1893. The objective of the Universal
Zetetic
Society was the propagation of knowledge related to natural cosmogony. That word. In confirmation of the Holy Scriptures based on practical scientific investigation. The Universal
Zetetic
Society I'm not saying words I can't pronounce, sorry. Published a magazine, The Earth, Not a Globe Review, and remained active well into the 20th century. She also edited another journal called Earth, a monthly magazine of sense and science. That ran from 1901 to 1904.
In 1956, Samuel Shenton founded the International Flat Earth Research Society, IFERS, also known as the Flat Earth Society. Shenton was a British civil servant who became interested in flat earth theories in the 1920s. He believed that the Earth was a flat disk centered at the North Pole and bounded along its southern edge by a wall of ice.
You okay?
You're right. Shenton founded IFERS to promote his flat Earth beliefs and to challenge the prevailing scientific consensus that the Earth is a sphere.
Which it is. Sorry.
We don't know how to be unbiased. He published a quarterly newsletter called The Earth is Not a Globe Review and gave lectures on flat Earth theory around the world. IFERS's membership, again, the Flat Earth Research Society's membership grew slowly in the early years, but it received a boost in the 1960s with the advent of the space race. Shenton argued that the space program was a hoax.
It was.
That's another episode. And that the photographs of the Earth from space were faked.
It was.
He also claimed oh my gosh. He also claimed that the curvature of the Earth could not be seen from high altitudes because it was too small. Shenton died in 1971, but But the International Flat Earth Research Society continued to operate under the leadership of Charles K. Johnson. Johnson was an American airplane mechanic who became a flat earther after reading Shenton's books. He believed that the Earth was a flat disk with a circumference of 3,000 miles. He also believed that the Sun and Moon were much smaller than they appear, and that they orbited the Earth at a height of 3,000 miles. Johnson was a prolific writer and speaker on flat Earth theory. He published a quarterly newsletter called Flat Earth News and gave lectures around the world. He also appeared on several television shows and documentaries to promote his beliefs. The International Flat Earth Research Society's membership peaked in the 1980s, but it has declined in recent years. There are now estimated to be only a few hundred active flat earthers worldwide. Gee, I wonder why.
We also have more access to knowledge now than there was back in the 80s. But,
However, the flat earth movement has seen a resurgence in popularity in recent years, thanks to the internet and social media.
The Flat Earth Society believes that the Earth is a flat disk with the North Pole at the center and a 150-foot high wall of ice, Antarctica, at the outer edge. The Sun and the Moon are much smaller than they appear and orbit the Earth at a height of 3,000 miles. There are two main models of the flat Earth. The first model, the atmosphere is encased in a large snow globe shape, and in the second model, the atmosphere is not enclosed, but the Earth is surrounded by a wall of ice. Flat earthers believe that the day and night cycle is caused by the Sun moving in circles around the North Pole. The Sun is said to be a spotlight that shines down on Earth, creating the illusion of a spherical shape. The Flat Earth Society recruits members by speaking out against all U.S. government agencies, particularly NASA. They believe that NASA is part of a government conspiracy to hide the truth about the shape of the Earth. The Flat Earth community has its own celebrities, conferences, and merchandise. It even has been endorsed by the rapper B.O.B. He even went so far to start a GoFundMe to launch a satellite to prove that the Earth was flat.
What an idiot. He probably kept all the money.
Probably. We don't know. Robbie Davidson, the founder of the Dallas Conference for Flat Earthers, states that the number of members is going to be astounding. He stated about Flat Earthers, "None of us believe that we're a flying pancake in space, and that the community merely believes that space does not exist. The world sits still, and the moon landing was faked." Facts.
So, let's break down what would happen if the world was actually flat, and some of the theories that the flat earthers use and why they're not true. The Earth isn't flat and doesn't rotate.
False.
Yeah, this is false. This has been proven by several scientists. The rotation of the Earth impacts daily functions, and the curvature of the Earth can be seen from an elevated vantage point, as we mentioned earlier. Two, Antarctica is an ice wall that surrounds a flat Earth. Obviously.
False.
This is false. Satellite imagery shows the shape of the continent, and it's not an ice wall that surrounds the flat Earth. There are also people who visit Antarctica every year, so pretty sure somebody's done a topography of the land.
I think they would see if there was a wall of ice.
Yeah, what's this? Was it 150-foot wall of ice? Yeah, I think somebody would notice.
It's not an iceberg.
Yeah. The Earth is flat because cities cannot be upside down.
False.
Gravity pulls objects to the center. No matter where cities or people are located on Earth, there is no up or down in space. So, yeah, if you think, obviously, the reality, we're a globe. So if all the gravity is getting pulled toward a center, it's pulling from all around it, not a flat disk. Photos of the solar eclipse taken at the South Pole prove that the Earth is flat.
False.
False. There have been scientists that have explained that there's a variety of factors, including time and locations the photos were taken, which account for why the sun appears to be moving in a straight line.
Planes flying in a straight and level path prove the Earth is flat.
False.
This concept does not mean that planes are flying in a literal straight line. This is something that involves flying at a consistent altitude in the same direction. Pilots consistently have to make adjustments to keep a consistent speed and altitude. A plane flying from one location to another would never end up upside down. This is because the Earth does not have a top or a bottom. Lack of stars in space photos means they were created with a green screen.
False.
Okay. We're going to talk about that later. Anyways, this is because stars don't show up in many space photos because stars are too dim to be detected with the camera settings required to capture brighter objects. Okay, NASA.
Well, okay, so, bad camera, you're not going to get much on the photograph. I mean, this is just knowledge 101. You get a nice camera that you can actually set to a low light setting and stare at one section for long enough, like the Hubble telescope images, and then you can see all sorts of planets, stars, and galaxies.
Okay, nerd. Space is a hoax because astronauts don't train in vacuum chambers.
False.
This is false because, according to a NASA spokesperson, NASA astronauts train in both pools and vacuum chambers to prepare for life in space. The moon being visible in the daytime proves that the Earth is flat.
This is false.
Planetary scientists say that the visibility of the moon and the sun during the day does not prove that the Earth is flat. It actually proves the motion of the sun, moon, and Earth in space along with the Earth's rotation.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems with the flat Earth theory is that it's not clear how gravity would work on a flat Earth.
Yeah.
Flat Earthers often assume that gravity would pull straight down, but there's no evidence of that. As we mentioned before, what we do know about gravity is that it pulls towards a center. So if it was a disk, it'd pull to the center of a disk. This means that gravity would only pull down at that one point on the disk, like the middle, and it would tug horizontally the farther out from that point you were.
Yeah.
This would have a number of strange consequences. For example, air pressure would range from no atmosphere at the edge of the disk to massive amounts at the center. If you lived at the center, you would be crushed by the weight of the atmosphere. This would also have strange effects on plants and trees. They would grow horizontally as they would be pulled towards the center of the disk, and water would also be sucked to the center, creating a massive ocean at the center of the disk.
The solid core of the Earth generates a planet's magnetic field. With a flat Earth, that would need to be replaced with something else, obviously. Without a magnetic field, charged particles from the sun would fry the planet. It would strip away the atmosphere like it had happened to Mars. The air and the oceans would escape into space. On a flat Earth, there would also not be an explanation on what would happen to the tectonic plates. It could be thought that they might just fall off, but that may jeopardize the quote-unquote wall that prevents people from falling off the side of the Earth as well. So people would just be falling off everywhere. According to flat earthers, the sun is 32 miles wide. They argue that the sun goes around and around in circles 3,000 miles above the Earth. Because of this, the sun would never set. Because the Earth is flat, there would be nothing for the sun to set below if there were to travel such an arc. Based on what flat earthers say, the sun would never drop below 14.7 degrees altitude in Washington, D.C. in the dead of winter. That would be about 7 p.m. in the peak of summer.
Flat earthers have an explanation to eclipses. In reality, it is an alignment when the Earth intercedes between the moon and the sun, which we've all experienced and stared at for far too long.
Even when we probably
when we're not supposed to. But we've experienced it. This would not be possible according to flat earthers. They say that the sun and the moon are constantly drifting in circles above the flat Earth's surface. Flat earthers stated that a shadow object orbiting the lineup between the moon and the sun, which is called the anti-moon, is apparently translucent.
Which just seems kind of, moronic, but.
If the flat Earth theory were to be true, millions of people perpendicular to the moon-sun lineup would see a fully eclipsed first or last quarter moon, and that does not happen. Moon phases are a struggle to explain for flat earthers. The weather would go crazy without a rotating system. There would be no jet stream snaking its way about the poles. There would be no nor'easters or spinning areas of high or low pressure. Hurricanes could also not form.
Might be a good thing for here in Florida, but okay.
Well, then we wouldn't have any hurricane parties.
Oh, true. Facts.
Without
no days off of work.
The weather would go crazy. It is for the same reason why there are no hurricanes near or at the equator. The force of the Coriolis force is zero there.
Yeah. So another thing that would suck with the flat Earth is that the Southern Lights would not exist. I haven't seen those yet, so I would like to see them. I want to see them so bad. The Flat Earth movement says that the southern edge of the world is bordered by ice, which is Antarctica. According to their model, there is no definitive South Pole. The Southern Lights are routinely visible in Antarctica and sometimes New Zealand and Tasmania, which is because these places are close to the South Pole. No South Pole means there are no Southern Lights. Moreover, the Earth has a magnetic field that results from its spinning. Magnets have a north and a south pole. If the North Pole exists, like it does in the flat Earth theory, then the South Pole should be beneath it. It would be on the underside of Earth rather than near Antarctica. And that's another thing that flat earthers cannot explain.
So whether you believe that the Earth is flat or a sphere, there's overwhelming evidence that the Earth is a sphere. Mm-hmm. Now, not a perfect sphere, of course.
Nothing is perfect.
It's a little elongated, but it is a sphere. It can be scary to think that there is a thought process that's a little different than yours, but, check your own facts.
And think for yourself.
Yeah, think for yourself. Fun facts. Got a few of them. It's a common misconception that the Earth was believed to be flat until a few hundred years ago. This is not true. It has been widely accepted in the Western Hemisphere that the world is a sphere since at least 323 BC to 31 BCE. It wasn't until the 19th century that the flat Earth conspiracy resurfaced. Here comes a name I can't pronounce.
We apologize to this person.
According to Chandra Jayasuriya, a cartographer with the University of Melbourne.
Please reach out to us and tell us your right pronunciation, please.
It made sense for people to believe in a flat Earth. Ships would sail off toward the horizon and often never return. Those left behind did not have access to info outside of their communities. Pulling data from the firm Datafolha, what kind of name is that, indicates that 7% of the Brazilian population, about 11 million people, believe that the world is flat.
That's 11 million people too many.
I'm not going to start any arguments with Brazilians about the Earth, because I'm probably not going to win against 11 million people. Moving on. A recent YouGov poll found that 2/3 of Americans aged between 18 to 24 believe that the Earth is round. Yes, round. Good job, 18 to 24-year-olds in America. At least you got something right.
We are proud of you.
Good job, young Josh.
Good job. Good job. Okay. I have a question for you.
Oh, wonderful.
Do you believe the Earth is flat? I think we covered that numerous times.
No.
No. Why do you think people believe in the flat Earth?
Because they're numbskulls. Some people just want attention. Some people can't really think constructively. And, again, I think some people just want attention.
Facts.
And they just want to argue.
All the time.
Or they just want to think one-track mind and not accept any other information in.
Facts.
Which is a very, very bad way to live generally.
Yeah, if you can't listen to other people's opinions and other facts in this world and make a possible change in your mindset due to actual scientific facts, then that's not a good place to be in.
You need to work on yourself.
Work on yourself. Do you think that flat earthers will ever change their minds?
Well, they did at one point, because typically every flat earther was a ball earther at some point. I mean,
I'm a sphere.
A sphere, yeah. Well, most of them believe in spheres until they change their mindset. So, is it possible? Of course, but will they? I think to make you yourself believe in a flat Earth over a sphere Earth, I don't know if there's any coming back for you.
Facts. What do you think you would do if you ever met a flat earther and they were adamant the world is not a sphere?
Talk about something else.
I would laugh. I would laugh.
Probably like we did at the beginning of this episode.
And I would just stare at them for a minute and then be like, okay, so we gonna talk about something else.
Yeah.
You do you, boo boo.
I was trying to. I was.
Josh did not want to do this episode when I told him we were going to do flat Earth. He goes, "Why in the heck are we doing flat Earth? It's not real. It's stupid. I don't want to do it." And I'm like, "We're doing flat Earth."
So she did this for you, flat earthers. She did it for you.
I did it for you. I don't believe in it, but I did it for you.
You got your fair share of the internet. There you go.
My brain hurts from working on this.
I will say,
my eye twitched.
I was reading on one of these websites about facts about proving flat Earth, and
it makes no sense.
It made no sense. I was like, "You're making." It sounded like it was making up scientific facts that just did not add up. But
we can't be quiet all the time.
Yeah, we know.
We know.
So that's it for this episode. As you can
Our
hear,
son Ezra is here.
Say hi, Ezra. Just say hi. Just say. Stop touching the microphone. Just say hi.
Hi.
Very good. All right. So, thanks as usual for tuning in.
Eat some snacks.
And remember to thank your science teachers for teaching you correct globe theory.
Facts. Stay strange out there.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Stay strange.
We want to thank you for tuning in. You can find us on all your favorite social platforms by searching Conspiracy Weird, posting photos and details from each episode. Please consider keeping our tummies full by donating to the Snack Fund. Donations will be given a shout out on the podcast. Special thanks to Audionautics.com for the theme music. And remember, question everything.